Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to be here. For those of you who don't come regularly, we are in the middle of a series on the Sermon on the Mount. And this is actually, I think, number 8 in the series. And we got a couple more left, and then we're all done with the Sermon on the Mount, and then we're all fine after that, right? Exactly, we got it then. But we got a few left, and so today we heard some but for many of us are probably very familiar passages. Right? I mean, we've heard the Golden Rule. If you haven't heard the Golden Rule before, then it's probably been a while since you've come out of your cave. Right? So it's right, and I could if I had chosen to attempt to be the 1 millionth person to preach on this passage, but I decided that you probably at some point heard enough sermons on that one. And then the next part of the passage said, it's hard. This whole following Jesus thing and doing the right thing and being part of God's kingdom. It's not easy. And I'm guessing, again, most of you know that already. And that if you're maybe you're living your life just sort of going happily on from victory to victory and from joy to joy to joy. And I'm happy for you if that's true, but I'm guessing it's not. Anyway, right, so that one seemed fairly obvious. And then the third part of the passage said, beware of false prophets. And I scratched my head over that one for a while, going, I'm guessing you don't have that as a major concern in your life, false prophets. Except maybe you do, I don't know. So I thought instead of trying to tell you about this, we would look at an Old Testament passage that's specifically about false prophets. But it's a long story. It's all of 1 Kings chapter 22. And it's complicated. So I thought this morning, instead of trying to read this all and explain it to you, we would perform it together. At least some of us. And that's what the signs are doing. Right? So let me switch to Rachel's microphone here. There, okay, so we're going to do some basic Israel geography here to start with, okay? So I'm standing here at the Sea of Galilee. So we're thinking of this as more or less north, which is more or less true. Okay? So this is the Sea of Galilee, and down at the other end is the Dead Sea, right? And there's this blue line that runs from one body of water to the other body of water. Guess what that is?
River.
A river, and guess what river it is? The Jordan River. Good. So this is the Jordan River Valley. Okay, so it works out really, really well geographically, right? And then outside of the Jordan River Valley, like the whole river valley is well below sea level, right? So I think Sea of Galilee is roughly 300 feet below sea level, and Dead Sea is 600 feet below sea level. So this is like a way down there sort of valley, and then it goes up to the hills, right? So if you're, so this side over here, these are sort of the Galilean hills, or this is the hills of Israel, right? So this part of the world looks remarkably like West Virginia, okay? It's pardon me, almost heaven, exactly, right? Except that it sort of tapers off at the end and goes into the Mediterranean Sea over there. Okay? Now this side of the Jordan River today is called the country of? On the Jordan River. Jordan, very good. Okay? And this side is appropriately brown, because while it's hilly, it's mostly just wilderness, right? I should really have spray painted all of this green for effect, but I was guessing that wouldn't go over well. Okay? So this is sort of nice and green, but mountainous, and right? And this is just sort of brown like the benches are. With me so far?
Yeah.
Okay? So in the middle of all of this is the city of Samaria. There's our city of Samaria. Right? So in the New Testament, right, what do we know about people from Samaria? What are they called?
Samaritans.
Right, Samaritans. Good, right? And over here, down here is the city of Jerusalem. Right, just sort of up in the hills, not far from the Dead Sea. Okay, all wilderness back there. Okay, you don't want to go there. Right? And then if you go further north here, Right, way up there is Damascus, right? So if you're in Damascus today, what country are you in?
Syria.
Good, good, right? So over there is the country of Lebanon. Very good, okay? And then the other thing to know is that over there is the ancient city of Ramoth Gilead. And that's going to be important because it's part of our story. Okay, basic geography. How's it going so far? Okay, there's no quiz at the end of this. Okay, I promise. Okay, so now we need to start our play. This is all going to get simple in just a minute, honest. Okay, but I need some players for my play. Okay, so I need, first of all, I know, 2 kings. So we got that 2 kings over there. Okay, so Axel, come here. Which king do you want to be? Do you want to be?
I want to be the evil king.
The evil king. Okay, so you get to be this one. Okay, now this king has an eye on his crown, but just an eye and some question marks. And there's an eye and some question marks because he's called the King of Israel, but for most of the story he's not named. And the King of Israel, right, Axel needs to be in Samaria. So go find the Samaria, then you go sit in Samaria. Okay? And you get to be the king, he's the 3J king, because his name is Jehoshaphat, and he's in Jerusalem, which is in Judah.
You're fat.
Yeah, so he's Jehoshaphat. So you get to be over here in Jerusalem. Okay, good. So, hang on. So, Jehoshaphat, there's your lines. And King of Israel, here's your lines. Okay, now, almost all of the action is going to happen here. So, if those of you aren't sort of facing here, you might want to turn around in a more comfortable sort of way. Okay? There's a very small bit part for a king's messenger. Who wants to be a king's messenger? Okay? Eric, you can be the king's messenger. You should go there with Axel, because you're his messenger. We need some prophets. Okay? We need a prophet named Zedekiah. Sophie does not want to be a prophet. Anyone here ever wanted to be a prophet? You want to be a prophet. Okay, you can be Zedekiah. Okay? We need a prophet named Micaiah. Who else wants to be a prophet? There you go. You can be Micaiah. And now you get this. Linda, you get this. Okay? And Micaiah, actually, here, why don't you put on my big prophet robes here? Okay? And then we need someone else who wants to be 400 prophets. Does anyone want to ever be 400 prophets?
Corey wants a prophet.
Okay, Rachel wants to be 400 prophets. Okay, good. Now, somewhere I have my own copy. Where did my copy go?
Here, you can be 400 prophet.
No, it's up there. There it is. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the story in 2 Kings 22, bit by bit. So if you've got a Bible, you can follow along. If you don't have a Bible, there's some on the back table back there, and you can follow along there. But we're going to be reading through the story, stopping once in a while, regularly actually. I'm going to do the narrative part.
Where does it begin?
It begins in 1 Kings 22, verse 1.
Somebody's glasses were
Oh, okay, good. Okay, we don't want to be stepping on glasses. Okay, so are we ready, players? Okay, for 3 years, Aram, right, so those people up there in Damascus, and Israel, that's, right, Axel and all of his people, continued without war. Right, unfortunately, oh, you don't need that yet. Okay, but you're getting ready. You're getting into the part. Okay, right? So this is, right, unfortunately, I mean, it'd be a horrible thing if that was good news. Right, anyway, they continued without war, but in the 3rd year, King Jehoshaphat of Judah came down to the king of Israel. Right? Okay, no, they like each other. They're friends. Okay? The king of Israel said to his servants,
Do you know what the Raymond Gilead belongs to us? Yet we're doing nothing to take it out of the hands of Aram.
okay, right? So he said to Jehoshaphat, no, he said to Jehoshaphat,
Will you go with me and to battle at Raymond Gilead?
Jehoshaphat replied to the king of Israel,
I am as you are, my people are your people, my horses are your horses.
okay, so the king of Israel, right, he's in charge of all of this territory and bits of this, okay? But him and Aram, they've been in this sort of ongoing battle, and you stay in Samaria. You're fine in Samaria, right? But there's this city way over there named Ramoth Gilead, and the king of Israel thinks it's really his, and the king of Aram is currently in charge of it, right? But it's not really, it's not really anywhere close to Israel. It's really way out there on the borders, insofar as people in the ancient world had borders at all, which they didn't. Okay? So it really looks in some ways like the king of Israel is picking a fight for no particular reason except that he wants to show off to his buddy, the king of Judah. Right? The other thing is that the king of Israel is the stronger one here. Right? Jehoshaphat's coming to visit him because he's sort of the weaker of the two kings. Okay, so when the king of Israel says, "Will you go fight with me?" the king of Judah probably has no real interest in actually doing this, because, why does he care? But since he's the weaker of the two kings, he goes, "Yeah, I guess we'll go along with you." Okay, so let's continue. But Jehoshaphat also said to the king of Israel,
Inquire first for the word of the Lord.
okay, then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, right? So Zedekiah, you can go, oh, you're already here. Micaiah, oh no, Micaiah, not you yet. Okay, and the 400 prophets, right? About 400 of them, and he said to them,
Shall I go to battle and trim Gilead, or shall I refrain?
they said,
Go up, for the Lord will give it into the hand of the king.
so one of the interesting things is that the king of Israel has 400 prophets around him. Right? And even if we assume someone's exaggerating a bit, right? That's a lot of prophets. Right? And their purpose is to inquire of God, so that when the king of Israel wants to know whether this is what God wants or not, he's got 400 prophets. The Bible, interestingly, is both supportive and suspicious of prophets. It's especially suspicious of prophets in large numbers. And it's especially suspicious of prophets who are getting paid. And it's probable that these 400 prophets are sort of court prophets. They're sort of on retainer. Right? So I don't know, maybe one of the lessons here is that if you're really interested in inquiring of the Lord, I'm the last person you should ask, because I'm the person here who's getting paid to do this. I don't know if that's one of the lessons of God. Right? But the Bible anyway is deeply suspicious of any spokesman for God that's getting paid for this. Okay, let's keep going. But Jehoshaphat said,
Is there no other prophet of the Lord here of whom we may inquire?
the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat,
There is one other by whom we may inquire the Lord, Micah, son of Imran. But I hate him. For he never prophesied anything favorable on me, but only disaster.
Jehoshaphat said,
Let the king say such a thing.
one more time.
Let the king not say such a thing.
Okay, right? So, right, here's 400 prophets, and they're just all unanimously, and Jehoshaphat there, he wants more? Right? So it suggests that he's a bit suspicious too. Right? Not only is the Bible a bit suspicious, but Jehoshaphat is a bit suspicious. And then the king of Israel said, well, yeah, there's this other guy, Micaiah, but he never prophesies anything good about me. Which is such an interesting thing to say. I'm not going to ask him because he always says bad things. It's not like he's wrong. He just always says bad things. And Jehoshaphat says, no, that's not how a king acts. Right? So Micaiah, right, some reason you have a reputation only for saying bad things. Well, there you go. So anyway, let's go on. Oh, about him, right. So then the king of Israel Israel summoned an officer and said,
Bring quickly Micaiah, son-in-law.
now the king of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah were sitting on their thrones, arrayed in their robes at the threshing floor. So you got to be sitting on your thrones. Over there by Samaria. Right? At the threshing floor at the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets were prophesying before them. Zedekiah, son of Chenaanah, oh my goodness, made for himself horns of iron. Right? So here you got your horns of iron. Right? And he said,
Thus says the Lord, with these you shall gore the Amorians until they are destroyed.
all the prophets are prophesying the same and saying,
Go up to Ramoth Gilead and triumph. The Lord will give it into the hand of the king.
okay, so it's really important to understand here that this is a big public event, right? This is sort of setting the scene, right? There's the king, and he's at the entrance to the gate, so everybody coming and going can see the king. The kings are sitting there on their thrones, and the elders are around. The prophets are prophesying, and sometimes, right? See, tonight is probably like over there a little dancing troupe called the Prophetess, right? And right, so it's this big, huge public event. Okay? And so then the messenger who had gone to summon Micaiah, okay, said to him,
Look, the words of the prophets are with one accord, are favorable to the king. Let your word be like the word of one of them, and speak favorably.
but Micaiah said,
As the Lord lives, whatever the Lord says to me, that is what I will speak.
here's the tough part, right? You're the one other voice, right? 400 prophets, right? Zedekiah's got his, right? And then Micaiah has got this reputation of being that one other voice. And there's times in our lives where we feel that way. I had an incident this week where I was at a pastor's gathering, and they were all sort of sitting around talking about, the election is coming up, how bad this could all be, because this was going to be like the end of the church pretty much, unless Donald Trump got elected. Now, most of you know me know that that's not my opinion of all of this. And these are pastors, and, I like to get along with people, and I hate always being that one other voice. So, right, do I shut up, or do I be that one other voice again? And you got those opportunities too, right? At work, maybe at home, maybe like in family gatherings, right? Just where there's this talk going on. It doesn't have to be about the election. It's just about something. And you know that it's just not right. And are you, especially everybody else is saying, these terrible people, and you have an opportunity. Right? You have the opportunity to be that one other voice. What do you do? Because it's easier just to shut up. It's easier just to stay quiet and go, sort of quietly shake your head and go, that's just the way the world is sometimes. And fortunately, me and my circle of friends, we think differently. Or you can say something. And sometimes that even happens in church. That the whole church seems to be making a decision, and you're going, I don't think this is what we should be doing at this time. Right? And even in church, are you that one other voice? Because in some ways, this is the place we should be practicing. Right? This should be a nice, safe place where you should be able to be that one other voice. Everyone, this is our practice for the rest of the week. So, like if you were having a council meeting and everyone seems to be going one way and you seem to be wanting to go the other, in your spirit you feel that this is just the wrong thing, right? Be that one other voice. And this week, right, as you hear other people speaking, right, it's hard and it needs to be done well, because, if you go out there and you're simply annoying, that's not what you want to do either. So this is why we need to practice. Right? Be that one otherwise. Anyway, right? So when he came to the king said to him, oh, we lost our king of Israel.
Micaiah, shall we go to the Rim of Gilead to battle, or shall we refrain?
He said to him,
Go up and triumph. The Lord will give it into the hand of the king.
but the king said to him,
How many times must I make you swear to tell me nothing but the truth in the name of the Lord?
Then Micaiah said,
I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains, like sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let each one go home in peace.
the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat,
Did I not tell you that she would not prophesy anything bad about me, but only disaster?
So somehow, right? So the first time, Micaiah just goes along. Even though he just said, I'm going to do the right thing, he wimps out. Right? But somehow, the king knows. Right? And it's so interesting that suddenly now, the king knows. He complains, right? Oh, I knew he was going to do this. But somehow he knows. So then Micaiah says,
Therefore, hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne with all the host of heaven standing beside him, to the right and to the left of him. And the Lord said, Who will entice Ahab so that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? Then one said one thing and another said another, until a spirit came forward and stood before the Lord, saying, I will entice him. How? The Lord asked him. He replied, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. Then the Lord said, You are to entice him, and you shall succeed. Go out and do it. So you see, the Lord has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all of these your prophets. The Lord has decreed disaster for you.
so this is the scary part of the story. Right? Because it's not like the 400 prophets, right, were wrong. They heard God correctly, and they are prophesying correctly, except that God sent them a spirit that was lying to them. So these are not false prophets. They're the true prophets of God whom God is lying to. That's really scary.
That is scary.
Yeah. This, however, is... My wife is shaking her head here. The spirit is lying to, under God's direction. Okay. This, however, is also the first time that Ahab is named. Until now, he's been the king of Israel. What's his name? And now, suddenly, he is Ahab, the king of Israel. Which means that we've got to understand who Ahab, the king of Israel, is, which means we to know our Elijah stories. And we know that the king of Ahab, the king of Israel, has been dedicating his life to the defeat of the worship of God. That's been sort of one of his many goals. And while he is in many ways a good and powerful king, in terms of worship, and in terms of, in general, where his people are heading, he's trying to steer them away from the worship of God into the worship of other things. And so I think part of the lesson here is that you can't be orienting your whole life in one direction and then suddenly go, oh, by the way, God, what do you want? Right? And God's going to go, no, that's not the way this works. Right? You can't, don't pretend to me that you care. Don't pretend that you're really going to listen, because, I've been scammed like this before. It always amazes me the number of people who seem to think that God is stupid and you can sort of tell God stuff and he'll believe anything, or she'll believe anything you tell him. Right? God is just not that fundamentally stupid. Right? And if you've been dedicating your life to something else, and oh, by the way, God, what do you want? It just doesn't work. Right? And so here we have a God who's been paying attention and who is actively working to end the reign of Ahab, but still warning him. Right? There's still Micaiah. And Ahab knows. Ahab knows who's really speaking the truth, deep down inside of himself. That's why he doesn't like Micaiah. Because deep down inside, he knows that he's paid those guys off. They're going to tell him what he wants. And Micaiah is going to tell him what he doesn't want, even if it's the truth. Right? He knows. So then, Zedekiah, son of whatever, came to Micaiah, slapped him on the cheek, and said,
Which way did the Spirit of the Lord pass from me to speak to you?
Micaiah replied,
You will find out on that day when you go in to hide in an inner chamber.
Then the king of Israel ordered,
Take Micaiah and return him to everyone, the governor of the city, and Joash, the king's son, and say, Bless the king, and put this fellow in prison, and feed him on reduced rations of bread and water, until I come to peace.
Micaiah said,
If you return in peace, the Lord has not spoken by me.
and he said,
Hear you, peoples, all of you.
Thank you. I actually didn't choose this passage because of the election. I didn't. But there it was, right? And I don't think I'm going to conclude this because it's the Bible passage. It can speak for itself. So we're going to take a few minutes, or a minute now, just to sit in silence. And I'm going to let you figure out for yourself what the lesson was.